This is a battle between the kings of chairs, the Herman Miller Embody versus the Haworth Fern, and we're gonna be comparing them in the following categories: chair functionality, the seat, the arms, the backrest, the lumbar support, breathability, and pricing and warranty. Let's get honest. As always, links to everything will be down in the description below. Please use them as it really helps this channel a lot. And I've also done independent reviews of both of these chairs, so make sure to check them out after this video. When it comes to under the chair functionality, meaning all the levers and knobs under the chair, both of these chairs pretty much do the same things, except each chair does one thing that the other does not. Both chairs are able to go up and down. Both chair seats are able to slide in and out, although the Embody does it in a very unique way, which I'll talk more about in the seating section. Both chairs are able to have a back tilt limiter, meaning that you can either lock into place your back so that it doesn't move at all. Then you get 4 levels on the Fern versus 3 levels on the Embody. Ultimately, when you come down and you lean all the way back, it's pretty much the same. And then you get a knob on the right side on both of these chairs, which are going to limit how easily or how difficult it is to lean back. And then this is where the difference sets in. So on the Herman Miller Embody, you get this knob here on the back right. And this knob, it controls your backrest tension, not your back tilt tension, your backrest tension. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen the entire thing up. And as you can see, this thing is pretty floppy. And as I sit in it, you can see that I am in a much more leaned back position. By the way, my backrest is fully locked, by the way. So you can see that I'm in a much more relaxed, lean back position. Now watch what happens if I go ahead and fully tighten this backrest. You should be able to see on camera the back kind of getting a little bit more upright. So when I go ahead and finish winding here, when I sit in it, look at this. Look how much more upright I am in the chair. So by doing this, it encourages a better posture and it discourages you slouching in the chair. But I'll talk more about the slouching position, which the Embody is really great at, in just a minute. The one feature that the Fern has that the Embody does not is the ability to tilt forward in the chair. And this is an optional upgrade, so that's something to keep in mind. So if you were to use on the left side, left front of this chair, there's a tab, and if you pull that and kind of tilt forward, your seat tilts forward. And what this does, it allows you to plant your feet firmly into the ground, which not only encourages better posture as you sit, it also enables you to get a little closer to your screen or whatever you're doing. And because the pressure is more on your feet and on your legs, you're taking pressure off that lower back. It's kind of in that same principle of lift with your legs, not with your back. It's kind of in that spirit. Which chair wins in terms of functionality? I think it's a tie. I think both chairs pretty much do the same things. And the question really comes down to, would you rather sit upright in your chair and then have the option to kind of slouch down and relax? Or would you rather sit upright in your chair and then be able to sit forward in your chair, relieving pressure off that lower back? I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. The seat on the Haworth Fern is a high quality, very thick cushion. I would call it like a medium firm to firm firmness. It's a lot of firm words there. And I'm 174 pounds, 5'6", and I sat in this chair for 8+ hours a day with no issues whatsoever. Now, if you look at the design, you can see that it dips down in the front. This is what Haworth calls their waterfall design. And it's designed like this so that when you sit in the chair, instead of the chair being straight and potentially putting more pressure on your thighs, this is meant to do a fall off so that you don't get that kind of squeezing here in the thighs, cutting off circulation. Now, the seat is soft all around, and the seat pan does come out. So this makes it great for people who are taller with longer legs, or for people who like to be ergonomic rebels and curl up in your chair. The Herman Miller Embody seat is extremely unique. I've never felt or sat in anything like this. You see, this is kind of like a flexy, rubbery structure. This is what Herman Miller calls their pixelated grid structure. It's like this rubbery structure that flexes with you instead of being like a thick cushion like on most other chairs. And then you've got this layer of high quality cushion and foam between you and it. And so when you sit in the chair, it kind of feels like, the best way to describe it is it feels like you're sitting on a really taut piece of rubber band with, again, a nice piece of cushion between you and the band. And it doesn't look like it, but it's actually soft all around, and so that makes it great for people who are ergonomic rebels. But the seat pan also does come out for people who are taller, for people who have longer legs, for, again, ergonomic rebels who like to curl up in the chair. But it does it very uniquely compared to almost, I think, every chair out there, in that instead of panning out like the Haworth Fern did. This one, you grab the 2 handles here, you lift up and you pull forward. Let me show that one more time. So you pull up and you pull forward, and this pulls out, it unrolls the fabric hiding under the chair. And this, as you can see, again, me being 5'6", this is touching now the back of my calf here. So it comes out pretty darn far. So which seat wins here? Well, I think it's the Herman Miller Embody for a couple reasons. One is that the waterfall design on the Haworth Fern is good for taking pressure off of those thighs, but if you ever want to lounge in your chair and you kind of scooch up in it, well, this waterfall design makes it feel like you're falling off the chair. As a matter of fact, people who are 6'3" and above have mentioned that even when they scooch the chair all the way out and they scooch all the way back, because their legs are so long, it still feels like they're kind of slipping out of the chair. The second reason is that, now, if you're shorter and you want to pull the seat pan out because you want to curl up in the chair, you might not run into this issue. But again, if you are 6'3" or taller, well, in order to not feel like you're falling off the chair, you're going to scooch all the way back. But when you scooch all the way back, you can see that there is a gap that was created here because of the way that the seat pan rolls out. This is not an issue you're going to run into the Embody. And when you scooch all the way back, especially for my taller friends, when you scooch all the way back into the chair to not feel like you're going to fall off, well, you feel this gap on your back here. But it's not all rainbows and butterflies for the Embody either. You know, the pixelated structure I talked about earlier, that rubbery material, while it's great at flexing with you, it does make a lot of noise, a lot more noise than on the Fern. So for example, now, are you gonna make this movement? Probably not, but just the idea that you can have potential noise in the chair can kind of be a turnoff for some folks. The arms are a clear win for the Haworth Fern. You get a ton of adjustment, being able to go up and down a huge distance. You can also slide them forward and back. You can pivot them left and right, and then you can also slide them in and out. The Herman Miller Embody, on the other hand, you can go up and down. Again, you get a great range of motion, but then after that, the only other thing you can do is you can pull them out and in, and that is it. The arm pads themselves do not move. Now, the Haworth Fern does have a couple issues though. At maximum extension, there is a good amount of play on the arms. However, I've never felt like they were going to snap or break. And then the arm pads on both are pretty stiff. The Herman Miller Embodies gets complained about a lot. The Haworth Fern, I haven't heard too many complaints, but I don't know why, because of the two, the Fern's arm pads are actually stiffer than the Embodies. Moving on to the backrest, both the Embody and the Fern have super tall backs, but the Fern is taller by about 2 inches. Now, both of these backs also kind of flex and move with you, but the Herman Miller Embody's flex is just so much better. It is spectacular. Now, I mentioned this in passing earlier, but I talked about slouching in your Embody and how good it is at that. See, when the back is totally loosened and you sit in the chair, you find that it really just kind of moves however you want it to move. And so if you're somebody like me who just throughout the day, you just want to go from an upright position, maybe you want to relax a little bit like this, well, this thing will adapt to your shoulders, will flex with your back. You see, most chairs kind of have a static S shape. And so if you try to slouch in your chair, well, that bump on the lumbar or, you know, that curvature might run into your back and it doesn't feel as good. But because this chair is able to kind of flex with you, it really accommodates to any seating position that you want. Now again, if you're kind of like, well, slouching isn't ergonomic, it's not good for your back. If that's you, again, you can tighten that backrest and get into a more proper posture just like that. And it's very easy to do. Now, if you look at the design of the Embody backrest, it's also significantly thinner than most other backrests. And what that enables you to do is as you're sitting in the chair, it enables you to kind of stretch and flex again because the back does move with you. You can go ahead and stretch and flex and move and really stretch out those back muscles. And this is because, you know, with most chairs that have a wider back, they kind of curl in. And so when you go up, you're kind of like rolling up and you don't really have a lot of room to move in your chair, versus on the Embody, you get a ton of space to be able to flex and move around. Now, looking over at the Fern, this backrest isn't all that wide either. As a matter of fact, it starts wide and it gets narrower at the top. And because both backrests are pretty narrow, sorry about that, my neighbor has turned on a machine. When you sit in the chair, you get plenty of space to be able to really pull those arms back to really flex that chest out and get that proper seating position. Something to keep in mind is that Haworth does sell a Fern with a headrest. Now you want to buy it with the headrest attached, not try to do it aftermarket because you can void the warranty. And the headrest on the Fern is not very great. It literally just goes up and down and it's a ball of pad and that is it. Now, one crazy viewer of mine sent me some images where he took the Aeron headrest from Atlas Headrest and he somehow managed to Frankenstein it onto the Fern, and he said it's absolutely amazing. Fingers crossed, more on that in a future video. Now, Herman Miller doesn't believe in headrests for their chairs, but there's a company called Ahnest Headrest, and they are planning on bringing out a headrest for the Herman Miller Embody by the end of 2022. They've made headrests for the Aeron, which I talked about just a second ago, and I partnered with them. You guys can use my code for $5 off, and make sure you follow me here and on my social media, because they do plan on sending me a prototype in the next month-ish or so, and you'll see all the latest updates there. Overall, I do think the Embody's backrest wins. The ability to flex and bend with you and accommodate to slouching or experimental ergonomic rebel seating, as well as an upright option, you just can't beat it. But it is using that same kind of pixelated grid structure material, so it's gonna make a lot more noise compared to the noiseless Fern. The Haworth Fern is the clear winner when it comes to lumbar support. You see this rubber bubble here? This is an optional upgrade from Haworth, and it can also be adjusted up and down, and because it's a bubble, it really flexes with the way you put pressure on it on your lower back. But even if you weren't to get this upgrade, I still think the lumbar would be better on the Fern than on the Embody, because on the Herman Miller Embody, it doesn't really have like lumbar support. It's got this nub of plastic right here that if you're not sitting exactly the right way inside of this chair, it will hurt. And it's also not adjustable. So the way you're supposed to sit, and I've covered this in previous videos, is that you scooch all the way onto the back of your chair so that your butt is touching the back, and then you slide down. This way you're really tight into that lower back, into this lower crease here into the chair, and that nub kind of fits into the gap of your back. If you don't sit like this, then it can put a lot of pain and punish your lower back. Breathability isn't as straightforward as you might think, because both of these chairs come with a few different variants. So I'll talk about the most breathable to the least breathable, but overall, both of these chairs and all their variants are pretty darn breathable. The most breathable is going to be the non-gaming version of the Herman Miller Embody in the Sync fabric. Now, there used to be a bounce fabric, which mine is here. This used to be the most breathable, but I don't believe Herman Miller makes this fabric anymore. So their Sync fabric is going to be in a similar style. You see it's a very thin cushion layer, very thin foam layer, and because the back is thin, you get more surface area for wind to hit your back, and so overall, you're gonna get a little bit more breathability in this chair. The next breathable chair is going to be this exact chair that I have here with the regular fabrics. As you can see, you can probably see already, when the light hits this, you can see pretty much through it, because this backrest, this back cushion here is very thin, it's very breathable, but the cushion is thick cushion, and because of that, heat's gonna get trapped in your booty, although your back will breathe pretty well. The next most breathable is going to be the Herman Miller Embody Gaming Edition. So the Gaming Edition is less breathable than the standard non-gaming version, because they're gonna be using a thicker foam layer, and it's like a gel, and that gel works if the room is fairly cool, like it's a cooling gel, but you know, if it's hot overall, I don't know if that gel is gonna necessarily keep you cool, but because it is a thicker layer, it's probably gonna be less breathable than the non-gaming variant. And then the least breathable chair is going to be the Haworth Fern in the digital knit. So the digital knit is going to use much thicker knits, or like little knot looking things. It's thick, it feels really cushy, but the downside is you lose the thinness and the breathability of the fabric in the back. And so it's gonna be a little bit more stuffy in that chair, although you trade that for more comfort. When it comes to pricing, the Embody seems like the far more expensive option, with the gaming Embody being $1,800 and the non-gaming Embody starting at $1,900. By the way, if you wanna know the full differences between the two chairs, you can check out my video here. Now, it seems like the more expensive option until you realize that when you buy an Embody, you get all of the fixins. And if you get a non-gaming Embody, basically the only reason the price goes up is if you decide to go with, for example, like a white frame, and that's pretty much it. The Haworth Fern, on the other hand, starts at $1,100, and what you get is a plastic base instead of the metal base that I have here. You get no additional lumbar support, and no forward tilt. Then if you get this one that I have here, which has not only the metal frame, but also the optional lumbar and forward tilt, this is gonna run you about $1,500. And then if you get all the fixins, meaning the digital knit and the headrest, that's gonna run you about $1,800 to $1,900. Both chairs have a ridiculous 12-year warranty, and from the feedback I've read online and from your comments, you guys really like both of them. I've had personal experience with Herman Miller's warranty, and it's the bee's knees, and both chairs have a free, no-hassle 30-day return policy, and a lot of people ask like, hey, which one should I buy? Which one should I buy? I tell them, hey, buy both. Please use my links as it really helps this channel a lot, but please buy both and then return the one you don't like. And I know a lot of people don't like that answer, that's driving up costs, whatever. Well, how else are you supposed to try them? These are very expensive chairs, and that's why the return policy is there. Final thoughts. I think the Fern is such a good bang for buck chair. but there's just something about the Embody that I just keep coming back to over and over again. There's just something about the fact that I can sit properly in the chair and then finish the day kind of in a slouched, weird position because I don't feel any pain, I don't feel any stress anywhere, and there's just something amazing about it. Now, to be clear, I have a fully loaded digital knit with a headrest Fern in my office, as well as a gaming Embody in my home office. And my wife has tried both and she stole the gaming Embody. So she, like me, agrees that the Embody is just the slightly better chair, although we both are very impressed by the Fern. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Again, links to everything will be down in the description. Please use that as it really helps this channel a lot. Like, subscribe, let me know what your thoughts. Until next time, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.